I'm back. Did y'all miss me? Sorry. I had to do something. So you know how it is. Okay. I really didn't want to rush the rest of this out. Talking about Loki season 1, we're talking about this in order. Loki season 1 I think is better than season 2. I still really enjoyed both of them. Loki season 1 for me has the more interesting, compelling stuff. I feel like the more action it is, the cooler it is. Some of the ideas for time travel and the TVA introducing that, it introduces it in a near perfect way. Kind of goes through Loki's character arc like he's a villain, but he's a villain who's hurting, and he's a hurting character. And so you get that and you feel all that weight on him, and the way that it ends is compelling and intriguing and done really, really well. While season 2 comes about fixing the timeline, barely has any action in it, barely has any big explosive scenes in it. But what it does well, it becomes very compelling and be a nice character study, the character of Loki, to where you get to the finale and you get to Loki deciding that he's going to have to put his life on the line to save everything. And it's emotional, packs a gut punch, it's satisfying, and it is everything that you wanted to have this be concluded very well and a perfect character arc. And even like the rest of the show, it's a show that had one action sequence, but it was compelling the whole time through. Had one action sequence, but I was never bored. And it's just like that's I also didn't have any reshoots. It's also one of the most peculiar and interesting stuff in the MCU. So I just think that Loki season 2 was a very great MCU show. Loki season 1 more compelling, more fun to me, but both of these, man, this is a great show in general. The Winter Soldier, Captain America the Winter Soldier is next in 11th place, just out of my top 10. I like the movie. I really do. I really like it. I feel like Captain America, the Falcon, all that was good. I never liked the movie back then. I watched it 4 times. This time I rewatched it once after a couple years, and it finally came to me. I do like the movie. I like the action. I like the brutalness of it. I like the Winter Soldier. I like the emotions it could get in the end with saving Cap. I like the way it sets up for Civil War to complete this off in a pretty cool trilogy. The action was also really cool. The intensity and the spy stuff was really, really cool. That I think that's the main thing that really did work about this movie was that it was a compelling spy story. It was a compelling spy movie that also it's intense. You want to learn more, and you get into the big stuff with Hydra taking over Shield and all that. Very cool, very compelling, and I really did enjoy it this time I watched it. And here we are, 44 movies down. We have 10 to go. We have 10 to go. Took us 2 videos to do it. 2 videos to do it. Hail Hydra. Thanks, Daddy Jacob. You freaking Nazi. That what you are now? You freaking Nazi. Okay. Black Panther. Black Panther. It is it's number 10 in here. We had 44. You're welcome, Daddy Zach. That's not my name. Quit calling me Daddy Zach. Thank you. Okay. Took us 44 movies. Okay, here. We're now in the top 10. Black Panther is here. Came out in February. We actually bought this today. Came out on Vudu, which was Mother's Day. We had a rough day that day. It was a while back, all the way back to 2018. Kind of a rough day that day, but it was fun for me, my mother, my dad, and my brother to just sit down and watch Black Panther, and it still holds up as one of the best ones. The story and the villain and Killmonger, such a good villain that I really just enjoyed him and enjoyed so much about him that he had a good motive for doing this. His motive for doing this was great, but also you didn't want to. He did a bad thing. He was doing bad things, and so when you get to that final fight and the way he dies, you get the emotional payoff. Meanwhile, along the way, you also get so many good action sequences and so many iconic moments out of this movie through the whole thing. And what makes this movie even better is just that the passing of Chadwick Boseman and shows us how good of a character, how good of an actor he was, and how sad it was that he passed. And it just makes everything a little more emotional. And as we go into Wakanda Forever, it makes everything a little more emotional and puts a little more weight on it. I really did like this movie. I still think it holds up as one of the best MCU movies, and it's just really sad that we couldn't get a Black Panther 2 like this one because of the passing. Iron Man 3. This is one of my personal favorites again. I have so many bias on this one. Sure. You say the Mandarin plotline isn't good. It's definitely not the best plotline you can make in a movie, but it's definitely not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. But I genuinely think this one is very cool. It starts off with a simple plot, kind of like the Incredibles thing. There's this guy, he's recruiting people, and the Mandarin and Iron Man gets taken down. So it then becomes like this creative thing to where it's a very spy thriller, Shane Black type spy thriller. Seen a couple Shane Black movies. This is totally it. This totally reminds me of what Shane Black is. And it's a very nice vibe for an Iron Man movie to go into the spy thing like that. And then we get to the final battle where all the Iron Men come and you finally get the concluding part for Iron Man. If the rest of the universe didn't work, I think that this would have been a very satisfying conclusion to Iron Man's character as he finally learns to let go. I think it all is very, very good. It's very entertaining. Main word I'll use here is it is extremely entertaining. It is one of my favorite MCU movies. And I know a lot of you will be kind of mad that I say that, but I really love the vibe that Shane Black put on this movie. 8 more to go. The Avengers is next up. The Avengers is a movie that it doesn't really have a lot of meat on its bones. Not really, because it's not really as intricate as a lot of the future things in the MCU. But man, is it good just to have all of these characters that you're setting up through all of Phase 1 come together, have excellent chemistry with each other, and fight Loki in some of the biggest things. I remember that my mother was like, hey, we're going to the store. We were young then, really young. She's like, if you behave, we're going to go see the Avengers this weekend. And we're like, okay, we'll behave. And we actually behaved for once in a store. And lo and behold, my mother took me and my brother and my dad to go see the Avengers, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And I keep rewatching it. It doesn't have its whole lot of meat on its bones, but it's easily rewatchable. The cast here is absolutely perfect. And so it's just a very good MCU movie that it's actually great. It's very entertaining. It's very compelling. It's got so many good things. Some of the best things, I think, that the MCU has ever had to offer. It's a very good movie and proves why the Avengers franchise is still one of the best ones. The first movie ever, Iron Man, goes in my number 7 spot. Iron Man for me is an absolute perfect movie because it's not only a very compelling origin story, where I'm not a big fan of origin stories, but it has the origin part, which is very compelling, and you're very compelled by the origin. But it also just has all these intricate details. There's the bad guys. He fights in the war. There's a war going on. You feel all the emotions that is going through him. Also, while he becomes Iron Man in something as known as one of the most iconic starters for a universe. This started off the whole MCU, this movie did, with a great Robert Downey Jr., a great script, and a very compelling superhero movie. It didn't need the weight of the world on its shoulders. All it needed was Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., and a suit to just pull one of the most compelling and interesting origin stories of all time. Also, one of the most entertaining. This one is still one of my favorite MCU movies. It'll be 20 years in 2028. So it's been 16 years almost since this movie came out. And it's still one of the best. Is Batman better than Iron Man, in your opinion? The characters or the movies? The movies, I personally like better than the Batman movies, but the Batman characters, personally, a personal favorite of mine. I really do like the Batman character. I feel like he is a very cool character and just has the most stories, the cool villains, all that. The movies, they got some good movies. My favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight, is obviously one of my favorite movies, so obviously I gotta say Batman on that one. But then the Iron Man movies are really good, but the Batman is a better character too. All right, we got Ant-Man at number 6. Ant-Man, the first one. It's not like Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania or Ant-Man the Wasp. It's got all the fun spy stuff, all the fun thief stuff that you expect from a Ant-Man movie, but also it's one of the most it's one of the most interesting and has it's a fun movie, but it also layers things on top of each other to where the actual buyers of this are Hydra. And it has stakes in the world, but also trying to be a fun movie following Ant-Man. I watch this one multiple times every year. It's funny, it's interesting, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, it's funny. It's got very funny scenes. It's a very good origin story. It's just got all these cool things about this that's actually so deep and so interesting that it's still probably the MCU movie I rewatch the most. This is probably the MCU movie I rewatch the most. I watch it so many times each year, and it's really, really, really good. I don't even want to read the comment. How do you feel about being in the fantasy playoffs? Yeah, I lost by 4 points. I took a shower, and then all of a sudden my team went off, and I still lost by 4 points. So, congratulations, Jacob. You won. You won because everybody let you win because they wanted me out of the playoffs. Congratulations, Jacob. You know what? You got to adapt for that. I'll do a little. Yeah, you like that? You like that? Okay. Okay. 5 more movies. I'm sorry. 5 more movies. Spider-Man Homecoming is my number 5. I freaking love this movie. This was a movie that Guardians of the Galaxy was. He does more dabs. Guardians of the Galaxy was my favorite movie for so many years since 2014. This movie came out. We watched this, and in the 5-day rental, actually, I think it was only 1 night rental. I watched it 3 times. 3 times, and I loved it each and every time. So I bought it instantly, and I watched it over and over again. This is still one of my favorite movies. Brings up so much nostalgia for me because I keep every time I watch it. But it's just a high school story for Peter Parker that is just a very intriguing high school story for Peter Parker. It doesn't have the fate of the world on its hands. It's Peter Parker in high school doing all that. And wait, how do you feel about Patrick Mahomes' 3-game suspension? Hold on. This is serious. We got to pause the MCU ranking for this. This is serious. He didn't get suspended. No, he did not. He didn't get suspended, you lying piece of crap. Get tricked. You genuinely made me stop talking about what I was talking about just to tell me that Mahomes got suspended. You jerk. Homecoming. It's got it doesn't have the fate of the world on his hands, but it tells a compelling high school story while also telling a compelling superhero story. Some of the most interesting and engaging scenes in the MCU. Very, very good movie. But it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie in this franchise. No Way Home is a little bit better. It brings in it's my next one, by the way. It brings in everything that you want in the emotions and all the satisfying payoff, the emotions with the death of May, the emotions with everybody forgetting about him ever. It's so emotional in that way. Well, you also bring in the villains that are all very good and all have great chemistry with each other. You also bring the 2 other Spider-Man. Spider-Man can do anything a spider can. Yeah, you like my song? Comment, by the way. That's what it was. Anyways, that brings the 3 Spider-Man. So you have all the emotional payoff. While I command you to dance. Shut up. You're so freaking stupid. Okay. You get the 3 Spider-Man, we got all the villains, and you have the very good emotional payoff in the end to this trilogy of the home Spider-Man movies. I feel like it's a perfect end to everything that they tried to do, and it completely succeeded. The beginning is a bit goofy. Obviously, you could have done a couple more interesting things than to just be like, yeah, I just want Doctor Strange to make everybody forget, and I got out of my list real quick. Just dance and then start stabbing. You shut up. I kind of lost my list. Oopsie doopsie. Anyways, okay, we're back. Yeah, but anyway, it's got all the emotional payoff. It's got everything that you want from the ending of the Spider-Man movie. It's perfect. Number 3 still holds up to this day. 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy. It is so good. It takes a bunch of characters that nobody knew about, and a cast member from that nobody knew about. Goofy, I thought you were talking about Marvel. I am talking about Marvel. What are you talking about? Whatever. It takes people that you don't know about, cast members that you've barely seen in anything before. Makes them likable, makes them intriguing, makes the whole movie emotional while you're attached to these characters, and just it makes it funny, charming, intense, emotional. All the feelings that you want out of a Marvel movie, James Gunn pulls out of you by one simple film. He makes you love these characters as some of your favorite MCU characters after one film. You never met them before, but it makes a perfect origin story. It makes a perfect story along the way, and it holds up to this day. It makes this Guardians of the Galaxy one of the best groups, and still, James Gunn does this magic and does everything he does good, and he does it again with this movie. It is so good, and still, even like you care about a tree here. When the tree dies, you're crying. Like, that's how good it is. When a tree dies, you cry. Like, that's how good this movie is, and I will forever love this movie. It's one of my favorite. And then, of course, we got Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War is number 1. Endgame is number 2. They're so close. Pairs together the perfect duology. Infinity War, for me, never liked it until a couple of years back when every time I get sick, I just watch this movie. I will watch this movie as the one movie I watch when I'm sick. Over and over and over. Read my comment now. What are you talking about? I read all of your comments. Goofy, I thought you were talking about Marvel. I did, freaking idiot. Anyways, I watch this every time I get sick. It's rewatchable. It's entertaining. It's got the emotions. It's got everything that you want from this movie. Does everything so dang perfect in every ounce of the word perfect. Does everything so good. The Mickey Mouse one. The Goofy, I thought you were... What Mickey Mouse one? I'm sorry. Don't have a Mickey Mouse one. Do a dance. There. Buzz off. Anyways, emotional. Amazing. Thanos has become one of the best villains in my opinion. I think it's just so good when it does that. And then you get to Endgame where everything's gone to crap and they go back in time and it just does that. And one of the most compelling time travel stories ever. They go back in the past, get the Infinity Stones. It's fun. It's entertaining. Both of these movies are easily rewatchable. Not that hard. It's not that easy to say about a 3-hour movie that's rewatchable. But it's here. It's great. It's packed, chock full of action. It is just, this whole duology here is it's something special. It's the most special MCU thing you could ever do. That's why it's my number 2. 44 movies ranked. 44 movies. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes to do 44 movies. Imagine how much it's going to do 70-something movies. Maybe even more on my 2023 end of the year list. Something that I totally plan on doing live stream for as well. It's my MCU ranking comment section later on. I did read your comments. Shut up. Anyways, later on, let me know what is your ranking all 44 MCU movies. It's crazy. I still don't really like how they're doing so much content dump on it. There's a lot of bad things recently, but so many good things in the past. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Thank you so much. And with that said, subscribe to the Internet Army, and I'm not reading your comment. Peace out. Live stream done. Bye-bye.